All together now, everybody. School's out for summer. That's right, folks. That is right. School is out for just about everybody, unless you go to a very unique small school. School's out for summer. The school zones are off in most places.
Yes.
I know our Fort Worth team members came to the office this last Tuesday, and were all quite happy how quickly they got from the Fort Worth side to the Richardson side. Pretty big deal, folks. Also a real big deal when it comes to residential real estate. Buying, selling, investing, and don't forget, also just enjoying your home. We're going to get into it as we make our way through the show today. We'll also take your questions. 214-310-0008. Call or text 214-310-0008 anytime between the shows. You can find us online at
ToddTremontiTeam.com.
That's ToddTremontiTeam.com. If all else fails, just Google us. But even though it feels like the very beginning of summer, if you pay attention to this show, we've obviously been talking about summer for more than a month because the market is always 30 to 45 minutes delayed. 30 to 45 days delayed. Meaning, if you were to put something under contract today in June, let's just call it June, you would be 4 to 6 weeks before closing and funding, right? So now we're like mid-August, right? Mid to late July. It just depends. When I say that and you're like, that's not the math. Well, it just depends on how many weeks it takes you to find something, how many weeks it takes you to negotiate or get an inspection and work things out. So we are very much within the window to be able to still buy and sell this summer, but it's not that big of a window anymore. So you have 2, 3, 4 weeks, just depending on when your desire deadline to get that done. But it might take you 2, 3, or all 4 of those weeks to find something, negotiate it, get some work done, that kind of thing. So we're not going to get into that entire timeline today, but just as a heads up, school's out, summer started, but the summer real estate market is mid to late summer already. So we'll dive into it. We'll take your questions today. 214-310-0008. Lots going on in DFW real estate. But first,
this first segment is, as always, brought to you by Patrick Galeros and his team with ABC Bank. Reach out to Patrick. You can go directly to his website, patrickgaleros.com, G-L-A-R-O-S, patrickgaleros.com. You can start an application right there. If you are looking to get a mortgage, if you are looking to refinance, you can do all of that by having a conversation with Patrick. patrickgaleros.com, 972-386-1231, NMLS number 308804.
Todd, I am surrounded by people looking for homes, trying to find the right one. I feel like people are putting their homes on the market. It sort of feels like this energy that like everyone wants to participate, but we're not finding the right house, and people want too much in order to find the right house on the other side.
yes, all of the above are mostly, if not almost always true. We're in a adjustment period in the market where, for example, the last year and a half, there's just been a lot less movement. And now there's some movement
it's feeling
going.
Movie to me.
But people's movement is with the mindset of 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So the attitude is, hey, it's 2020. We're in the post-COVID run-up. I want all the money for my house, but I do not want to give it to you for your house. And we're in a market that has quite a bit more inventory than we have been used to the last decade or so. It's not an unusual amount of inventory in the history of our market, but for the last 7, 8, 9 years, it feels like a lot of houses. And yet still, many, many buyers are not satisfied with that inventory. They're wanting to do nothing to their current house and get world record breaking prices, and then go have done everything to your house and pay it at a discount. And that's called, if we were to put one word to it, entitlement. I want what I want with no real reason for it.
And they don't see a need to sacrifice at all.
Right.
It is wild what I'm experiencing.
Here's a short strategy to be successful in this market. Okay. Actually put in the work to prepare your home for market. Doesn't mean you have to spend tons and tons of money, but talk to like a real pro, not your knucklehead nephew that just got his license out of a Cracker Jack box. Call the Todd Tremonti Home Sign Team, get a full-time, world-class real estate pro. Follow the process. We have a 7-step process where we guarantee to sell your home over the average price and under the average time. It's a proprietary marketing process, been working for 20 years. And then put yourself in a position to legitimately get the maximum amount of money for your home. Probably an all-time high price. Not in every area, but most areas. And then on the buy side, be somewhat reasonable, meaning make an offer that would actually be attractive to a seller that isn't just everything you ever wanted on earth. Be somewhat reasonable, and you can win big selling and win big buying. That's totally possible right now in this market. The people that are getting hurt are the people that refuse to prepare to sell and expect to get every single thing they want when they buy. So it's taking that type of seller way longer to sell right now. That house is sitting on the market longer. They're not pricing well. They're not marketing well. They're not very realistic and negotiable. So it's taking them months to sell. And then on the buy side, that buyer is getting beat by more realistic buyers. There's not multiple offers on every listing right now, but good listings are getting multiple offers. And the lazy, I want what I want buyer is just getting beat.
Well, unfortunately, they're being led by people that shouldn't be leading them because they're not skilled enough in what they're doing, or they're just being lazy, or they're being greedy. And so like they're getting bad advice, and that's hurting them as well.
For sure.
I disagree with the calling them lazy. No. It feels like everyone is working really hard, and there's this
time out. Are we talking about the agents or the buyers and sellers?
The buyers and sellers.
Okay, go ahead.
That they're wanting to do it themselves to make the max amount of money. And like across the board, I'm like, having just gone through a divorce, I'm like, people also like to try to go through that process. We'll just do it ourselves. We'll print the documents off. And I'm like, this is a crazy time in your life to not have someone advocating for you. Why are you doing this with your house?
I'm saying that agents are lazy. Yeah. There's lazy agents.
I thought, okay.
Not the
Good
people.
Clarification.
Yeah, that's why I was
clarifying. Because oftentimes when you have a lazy agent too, the home buyer or seller are having to work harder because they're trying to have to do it all by themselves, even though they're, quote, being represented.
So let me comment on both, actually. As far as the consumer, I risk making people angry on this show probably every single Saturday because I tell buyers and sellers, you need to take more responsibility for this process. Now, I also am absolutely probably the hardest, and I get really upset when other media outlets do it poorly, but no one's harder on the real estate industry as a whole than I am. It's an embarrassment to professionalism. Most real estate agents are really bad. So it's the consumer, it's the buyer and seller's responsibility to go find you an expert. I think if you're listening to us right now, I'm biased, but you have an excellent opportunity to at least meet with our team and decide for yourself if a full-time, fully dedicated, specialized, world-class real estate agent is worth it to you. I obviously think it is. But to your point, it's buyers and sellers feel like they're working harder than ever to figure this all out. I would argue they're really, more often than not, they're not doing much different, but they are overwhelmed in their head. They're anxious, they're fearful, they're nervous. I wouldn't say they're actively doing a lot to protect themselves on the average, meaning, are you interviewing agents? Are you making the phone call? Are you reading? Are you asking great questions? Are you talking to a lender, an inspector, an appraiser? Are you really evaluating the process? We can help you do all of that with a short text to 214-310-0008. And if you're not a fit for us, we'll tell you that. We'll point you in the direction of someone who is. But to Ian's point about the agents, it's sad, but I just said most agents are terrible at their jobs. And I would say 90+% of real estate agents and brokers, sadly, are no more informed than their clients, their prospects. Some of them are less informed. That client is about to go spend $700,000, and so they are highly motivated. They've at least done some reading and research, and many brokers and agents are part-time, or they're winging it, or they're stuck in their ways, or they were just never going to be world-class anyway. What percentage of any industry is world-class? So that's a real issue. We're not going to name names, but just in the last week, we've had great clients with a great agent on our team come up against not great agents. And we have known for a fact that their client, let's just say we had a buyer, they had a seller. That seller is operating in a way that is borderline unethical, but they don't really know that because they're following the leadership of their agent. And we don't have the ethical right to go directly to that client. We have to communicate through that agent. And so everyone feels sort of handcuffed by an incompetent so-called professional. And that's happening everywhere. So to Ian's point that agents are lazy, that agents are enabling a 2020 or a 2021 mentality from a seller, that's incompetence. That's a lack of, hey, that's not the market we're in right now. You need to adjust your expectations. You need to put in a little bit more work than just like writing your phone number on a paper plate and taping it to your mailbox. No, let's prepare this home for sale, maximize your investment. Now, on the other hand, I've got a little soapbox I want to get on today.
Oh, I can't wait.
Oh, yeah. And I'll give you a little bit now. We could do a little bit more later. But you know what I'm sick of? Do you guys know what I'm sick of?
I can't wait.
Pizza.
It's endless.
It's hard to get sick of pizza. I am sick of people on this station and others who come on and promote their real estate companies in a disingenuous, deliberately misleading way. And let me just say this. If someone tells you that as a big company, they want to make you a full price market value offer for their house, I would just like you to say why. Why would you pay me full market value for my house when you're not going to live in it? Your business model is to turn around and sell it for profit. How could you do that if you're actually paying me full market? Well, the facts would obviously point to that they cannot do that. They're going to pay you less than your house is worth. And let me just say this. If you're in a life situation where you feel like I am totally cool selling my house for less than it's worth, I would suggest you don't do that to some big venture capital backed company that's not from DFW, and you sell it to a homeowner, or if it's going to be an investor, sell to a local investor where that money, that income, that benefit stays in our community and they care a little bit more about your neighborhood because they live there or at least nearby, and they're not just going to quick flip or just treat your house like, an asset and not a part of the community. So I'm not going to name names, but I'm real close. But there's a lot of people advertising on TV and radio all over DFW saying, avoid the hassle of showing your home to potential, as if this is like just this exhausting, terrible burden that's not worth $20, $30, $40, $50,000 more. Mm-hmm. Listen, I will let you come see my house if I'm selling it to get another $50,000. I'll let 20 or 30, 40 people see it.
It's worth the effort.
This whole copywriting in these ads, save yourself the trouble of having to show your home. Look, there's a nuisance to it, but it's worth tens of thousands of dollars. So let's stop selling our houses to hacks from out of our market, whose sole purpose is to mislead you with an offer and then erode that offer through inspections and fees and end up paying you way less than it's worth. Now, I will tell you right now, if you want just a quick, easy, no baloney offer, I will make you that cash offer. Or better than that, I will have one of our buyers who wants to live in your house. They'll inconvenience themselves with a quick buy and a quick closing, and you don't have to do anything if you'll sell it to them for a little bit less. So if you want quick and easy and no nonsense, let us know. We'll match you up with the buyer, or we will do that. And at least that investment will stay in the market and you won't be misled or lied to by these companies running ads acting like they're going to buy your house at full value when their business model is to turn around and sell it. It just doesn't make any sense. They're what's called a wholesaler. They buy a bunch of things at low cost and they turn around and sell a bunch of things at a higher cost. That's just the way it works. You don't have to be a genius to figure this out, but the marketing is misleading. And I'm sick of it. So how about that?
I liked that soapbox. It was a good message. Okay, so let's say I'm not buying or selling.
Okay.
What should people be doing right now in their homes and yards to have an amazing summer?
Great question.
We love homes on land. We love enjoying our homes.
Yeah, whether you have a big lot or not, and we specialize in really two main things, right? Desirable neighborhood homes, like neighborhood homes in neighborhoods that you love to live in, and homes on land or small acreage. This is true for both of those, right? This time of year inside your house, we're not into the crazy hot yet, but we've had some hot days. We've had some cool days. Now is the best time to have someone come check out your air conditioning system. The cottonwood trees and the pollen and all that stuff has been blowing around. It's a great time for you or someone to clean out your outdoor units from the inside out, to blow all that debris out so it's not gunking up and restricting the air intake of your units and stressing them more than they need to so that they wear out sooner. You don't want that. It's also, if you haven't changed your filters in a while, your AC is working a little harder than it has been most of the year. So it's time to start changing those filters a little bit more frequently. If you haven't changed them in a while, you may run a filter for just a week or two and then switch that and let that just kind of get some cheap filters, run them really aggressively for a while, meaning like run one filter for a week, run another filter for a week, and then go back to your normal routine. I know that sounds crazy, but they're running longer, they're working harder, and you do not want them running dirty. Another deal is, if you
need to do that.
If you haven't had your ductwork looked at in like 12 or 15 years, I don't think you need to have your ducts cleaned all the time, but every decade or so, that can really extend the life of your AC units. I'm focusing on AC just because we're going in from like warm spring to hot summer, and you don't want to be sitting there in July or August like, oh, I need AC help. And now that's at a premium cost, and you have to wait 4, 5, 6 days to get on someone's list, or just, to get someone to come out. So now's a great time to do that. Now, as far as outside, we're still early enough in summer to put some sod down if you have areas that you want to enjoy throughout the summer. And then I'm even prepping now for next fall, which is my favorite time of the year to be outside, is after summer when everything's still in bloom, but the weather starts to cool off again. That's my favorite time. But if you want to put sod down right now, it's still early enough in the summer. You could get some new grass in areas that aren't growing very well. You could seed some grass. That's going to take longer, but I'm a St. Augustine guy. I like St. Augustine grass. You can still get that down, get it watered enough before you just bake it in late July, August, early September. So there's a couple of quick things to think about. There's lots of other great time to pressure wash sidewalks, driveways. Great time it's a little late to plant trees or things like that, but there's still time to plant some smaller shrubs and some pretty colorful flowers for summer. I'm not like an ornamental guy as much as I am the plants and trees and fruit bearing and stuff like that, but it's early enough. We're not into the worst part where nights and mornings are cool enough that you can give these plants enough of a little relief to get them established. So those are some things I would do to enjoy the summer and even start prepping for fall. Clean up those sidewalks, walkways, lay down pavers, landscaping projects. It's late, but not too late. You can get those done. Pool work, things like that. We've been swimming for weeks now, but if you need something done on the pool, it's better to do that now instead of having your pool out of commission in the hottest part of the year when you want to be in it all the time. Okay. Couple things to think about.
If you have not checked out your home insurance or your auto insurance recently, do so by reaching out to dp.lambert, Lambert, dp.lambert at goosehead.com. 214-614-8595 is the phone number. He has saved so many of our friends, family members, clients, thousands of dollars over the years. Actually just spoke to somebody that reached out to DP last week, and he was able to save the money on what they were currently paying, which was excellent. They were very happy. Reach out to DP, dp.lambert at goosehead.com, or as always, go to toddtremonti.team.com, click on the radio tab, and you can find all the recommended pros and vendors there.
That's right. You sure can. You can also find out what your home would sell for. So if you haven't checked your property value, let's just say in the last 60 days, I'm not upset with you, but I do think that's a little bit irresponsible.
Sounds like that's going to take a long time to check your property value.
Less than 1 minute, I would say. I think we've been quoting 42 seconds as the average lately. Even if you have slow thumbs, I think you could get it done in under a minute. And if you've got really quick fingers, we're talking maybe 30 seconds. It's under a minute for sure. Find out what your home would sell for. You can get a cash offer on your property within a day or two, depending on your situation. You can also track your home equity and search all homes for sale online by all real estate companies in all of DFW. All that's online at toddtremonti.team.com.
You know what else they can find there?
Summer Fun Guide.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
I sure did. You asked the question so well that I was able to. You get all the credit for it.
Thank you.
Summer Fun Guide is here, folks, and I've never been more proud of it. I have said that every year because it does get better every year, but this is a whole nother level, folks. People are calling, texting, and saying, this is amazing. I want one. I want one for a friend. I want one for a neighbor, and we are rapidly running out of physical copies. You can get a free digital copy right now at toddtremonti.team.com. There's a banner up top. You just click that button, and we'll email that to you, and you're welcome to share that link or that button with friends and neighbors. It's going to tell you where to go to beat the heat, where some great local road trips are, some great ice cream spots, food spots, live music and entertainment. It's just going to help you have an awesome DFW summer, hopefully your best ever. It costs you absolutely nothing, and if I'm being honest, it costs us a ton of time and energy and dollars. but it's so worth it. It's our gift to you from the Todd Tremonti home selling team to our friends, family, and neighbors in DFW. We hope you have an incredible summer. And obviously, if real estate is ever on your radar, holler at us. We'd be thrilled to earn your trust. If you're not a fit for us, we'll connect you with someone that is. And if you are a fit for us, I guarantee we'll sell your house over the average price and under the average time. We also guarantee we'll save you at least $5,000 throughout the purchase process of buying a home. There's nobody else in town that can do that for you. ToddTremontiTeam.com. That's ToddTremontiTeam.com. I do want to add something, if it's okay with you, Full Price Courtney.
Yeah, let's go.
We need about 5 new team members. And when I say need, that's probably an exaggeration. We don't need, but we would really enjoy adding about 5 real estate salespeople to our team, both in Fort Worth and in Richardson. 5 total between the two. Probably 2 in Fort Worth, 3 on the Dallas side. You don't have to have a real estate license yet if you're even considering getting a real estate license. We love to bring people on the team that are brand new up to about 2 years in the business, usually no more than 2 years. If you have a real estate license and maybe you've gotten in the business and wherever you went as a brokerage or team didn't meet your expectations or, do everything they promised, that's a pretty ideal setup for us. Now, if you're a whiner and you blame everybody else for your challenges, we're not looking for you. We love you as a creature.
Got it. So we're hiring 5
child of God.
non-whiners.
Yeah, no whiners, no gripers, no complainers, nobody that all your challenges are always everybody else's fault. That's not what we're looking for. We love you as a human, not looking to add you to our team. But if you're competitive and you have a history of kind of getting what you want in life, meaning you figure things out and you generally win, but you also care for people.
I like to make it happen.
Yeah. Like get stuff done.
Just be a part of the team.
Now, not at the risk of other people's safety and security and happiness and joy. Don't be a dirtbag. But if you get stuff done and you care for people and you're competitive in the way that you like to win together with others and you like to win for your clients, if someone else has a challenge and you're instinctively drawn to help them solve it, that's what we're talking about.
I'm not sure there's 5 of those people out there, Todd, but you know what, DFW? Prove me wrong.
Prove them wrong.
Prove me wrong.
But that's sort of the history of us growing our team is we're very selective, so we don't grow really fast, but we've got a lot of opportunity, and we believe market conditions are great for someone who wants to be full-time, fully dedicated, and fully bought into the team model to do really, really, really well for quite a few years to come. So you can call or text 214-310-0008, or you can go to ToddTremontiTeam.com. There's a careers page. There's a very simple 3-step process. You have to follow the entire process or we're not going to reply to you. If you can't follow basic instructions, also not a great candidate.
What if I only want to follow 2 of them, though?
That's your option. Not going to get a call back.
Got it.
214-310-0008 or go to ToddTremontiTeam.com. Click that careers tab. Follow the 3 simple steps. We would love to chat with you. By the way, if it's not you, but you're like, I know someone that would fit really well with you, and they're like an all-star. I know they're great. Especially if they already have a job that they love, they're probably a great candidate. They don't need a new job, but they might want to use their God-given gifts and abilities to make more money and have more impact in the world alongside a great team. 214-310-0008. Just text or call us or go to ToddTremontiTeam.com. Click that careers tab. We'll talk to you very soon. Hey, go get your summer fun guide at ToddTremontiTeam.com right now. What in the world is happening in the Dallas-Fort Worth real estate market? What's happening in the United States real estate market? And are the two at all connected? Are the two in any way relevant to each other? Of course, they're somewhat connected. I don't know if you know this, Courtney, but DFW is in fact within the borders of the United States of America. Therefore, in some ways, they're one and the same. I thought she knew that, but I just wanted to confirm. From time to time, when you're raising children or rearing children, as my mom would make sure that I said, they don't know these things. It's funny. It's just like, maybe they got a little behind on one of those principles that like a city's in a state, a state's in a country, country's on a continent. It's kind of fun to figure these things out. Usually road trips, Courtney, is when we figure these things out.
My daughter would like to know, boss, why kids get the summer off, but adults have to work.
I'd like to very quickly waste almost no time with that. First time he has ever in any way referred to me
As boss.
But notice that he seems to be lobbying along with his junior high daughter.
No, not at all.
For
It's her question.
Summers off.
No one loves vacation more than our Yanni Donnie.
Did you quickly retort with, because someone has to pay for your vacation?
That's exactly what I did say, Todd.
Yeah. Also, as a man of faith, I view work not as a total burden.
I also did say, because I enjoy going to work.
As an opportunity to use my gifts
I'm
to
kind of down with the rhythm of it.
share value with the world.
I like coming here.
So there you go. I gave an actual good response.
I'm glad that you like coming here. I appreciate that. We try to make that a reality. Okay, folks, here's what we got. Okay, what we've got is a market in DFW that is stable, is a good word for it. It's also wonky and murky. So how are those things the same? Well, stable is more of an observation of the balance of buyers and sellers. There are some neighborhoods and areas that are acting like a buyer's market, meaning there are a lot of homes to choose from and not that many buyers, so buyers can be selective. There are some areas that are acting like a seller's market, meaning there are not that many homes to choose from, and sellers have a lot of leverage and buyers are having to compete. And there's a whole bunch of areas that on any one street, on any one day, could be either or I know this sounds crazy, but kind of both. Like, well, that house, that's a bit of a seller's market. That's kind of a one-of-a-kind, well-priced, well-marketed home. There's going to be a lot of competition. Seller has a lot of leverage. This is a house that's, it's all right. And there's 4 or 5 just like it within a few $1,000s. You know, buyers have a little bit more leverage. Sellers don't have a lot of leverage. So that's kind of where we are. It's murky. It's a little all over the place, but most of it is kind of in the middle and makes kind of makes sense. Meaning the best houses priced well do well, and okay houses priced okay do okay, and not so great houses priced not so great are doing not so great. So in that regard, it makes sense. It's a murky middle. It's kind of a not real firm footing. That's been true for a while. But in the first half of the show, Courtney brought up what just lots of friends and neighbors and things she's seeing. People are just unrealistic right now. They have a mindset from a previous market that benefits them. And then on the other side of their transaction, they have a mindset from a made up market that would benefit them, but is not realistic. Yeah. So what we're seeing, take Fort Worth just as a whole. We're going to actually get into Fort Worth a bunch here in a minute, but we're seeing a slower market. We're seeing more inventory on the market, but we're still seeing homes that are selling fairly well. Getting pretty good value. You look at a market like Richardson, Texas, and you see, we use Richardson a lot, A, because we're based in Richardson, B, because it's a good representative market of like a wide array of price ranges, a wide array of home sizes and lot sizes. And you're basically seeing homes are on the market a month longer than they were the last couple of years. More of them, but not an insane amount. And really great houses still selling really great. We're seeing the like highest value home sales still going up. We're seeing the average home price still going up. And we're seeing the really desirable homes and really desirable streets and blocks taking a little bit longer than they used to, but still selling way faster than most other things. It's not crazy to see $1 million homes in Richardson, which just 3 or 4 years ago, that sounded crazy. That would be very similar at a slightly higher price scale in Plano. It's very similar in Allen. We're seeing things like that happening in Wiley, Saxe, Murphy, Parker, Lucas. This feels similar in Aledo, Lake Worth, Benbrook, West Fort Worth. A lot of the mid cities, especially on the north, Grapevine, Colleyville, South Lake, these places are blowing up. And they're not blowing up. They're acting like they used to, which is people really want to be there. But a little slower than it's been. So that's kind of a quick state of the market. But where people are making their mistakes is assuming that any of those average umbrella statements applies to them, their situation, their street, the house they want, the house they have to sell. That is unwise. This is a market where it's very different street to street, situation to situation. So you have got to have a full-time, fully dedicated world-class agent, lender, and team around you. And I don't know any better place to start than with the Todd Tremonti home selling team. Yes, I'm Todd Tremonti. I'm biased, but we have built a business only for Dallas-Fort Worth to absolutely delight home buyers and sellers in Dallas and Fort Worth, and that's it. We don't sell homes in Atlanta. We don't sell homes in Phoenix. We don't even sell homes in Houston. So you're hearing from a lot of other advertisers that are from outside of our market that just want to do deals in our market that don't know enough about our market. They're not very good in our market. I was driving down the street to a friend's house. I think I said this on the show last week, and I literally saw 2 different real estate company signs in one yard, which is like not even ethically allowed. Just shows you that neither of them are paying attention. And they're 2 names that you see on TV and you hear on radio all the time that I would tell you to be very wary of because they're not local. They do not have a really good finger on the pulse of our market. I'm not even saying they're bad people or bad companies. They're just not your best option. And they're misleading you either on purpose or maybe by accident, but they're not good. And I'll tell you who is good. The people that I've hand selected, hired. Ian has helped me train and nurture and mentor, and other leaders on our team like Courtney and others have cultivated their systems and their process and their ability to deliver world-class value to you, whether you're selling or buying. But what we're not going to do is tell you, this is what's happening in the whole market, and then follow your lead. If that's the kind of agent you're looking for, we're not it, and be very, very careful. If you're looking for a team, an agent, a broker to lead you and guide you and advocate for you and help protect you from huge mistakes and specialize, like literally craft a unique approach to buying for you and separately a unique approach to selling for you, and have multiple professionals working together to bridge that gap and navigate the in-between and the transitions and the cost of things and the lifestyle dreams and desires you have and the fears and anxieties that you have and things you want to avoid, reach out to the Todd Tremonti Home Selling Team. 214-310-0008. You can call that number or text it, but you should just save it in your phone. 214-310-0008. You can save it under Todd Tremonti or Todd Tremonti broker or realtor, whatever you want. 214-310-0008 or online at ToddTremontiTeam.com. If you just Google Todd Tremonti, spell it as best you can, you'll see over 800 5-star reviews. We're not making this stuff up. Go see what other DFW folks have to say, and then give us a call. 214-310-0008.
If you are needing some mortgage advice, if you are thinking about getting a refinance or anything else to do with getting a loan, reach out to Patrick Glaros. PatrickGlaros.com is where you're going to go, Glaros. PatrickGlaros.com. You can start an application directly on his website. 972-386-1231 is the phone number. NMLS number 308804. And as always, all of the recommended pros and vendors that we talk about on the show and more can be found at ToddTremontiTeam.com. Just click on the radio tab.
Yeah, just a final reminder. I've literally never used a residential mortgage person other than Patrick Glaros for over 20 years. That's how good they are. PatrickGlaros.com. Okay, folks. There's a lot going on in Fort Worth right now, and we're going to spend a chunk of time here just talking about how incredible it is and some of the challenges going on. But our Fort Worth folks, we're one team across all of DFW, but our Fort Worth folks are amazing. Specifically right now, Mari, you could not do better in Fort Worth if you're buying a house than working with Mari Arstein. She's just incredible. She's got this wired. She's very much living truly prototypical Fort Worth.
You will love her
lifestyle. She's a delight. She goes country dancing all the time, all the good things. But specifically downtown Fort Worth, which I would argue, other than the stockyards, probably gets as much or more attention than anything happening in Fort Worth. Even the outer lying areas where there's exciting high school sports or golf course development or new master plan residential community development. Downtown Fort Worth really is something special within the DFW Metroplex. And if you're not familiar, Sundance Square is kind of that core square. You might call it a town square. It's certainly more dressed up, more sophisticated in my mind than a small town square. But you've got everything from arts and culture and theater and performance, restaurants, bars, office space, small office, big office, entertainment, outdoor events, parades, festivals.
Every day.
All of it. We've participated in quite a few different things down there. We had a former team member have a wedding reception down there. I've been down there for a couple of live events. I've taken my son down there for some awesome food and experiences. It's an incredible place. So if you're not from the area and you're considering a move to DFW, you got to scout downtown Fort Worth as a real option. If you're living in and around the Fort Worth area and you just don't spend a lot of time down there, you need to check back in. There's been a lot of development, a lot of redevelopment, Some people are for it. Some people are against it, but you do need to check it out. Downtown Fort Worth, anytime you say apartments, Courtney and Ian, I don't know if you know this, but people get a little wound up, right? So some people don't want more apartments.
Way?
Some people don't want more apartments. They don't want more renters. They want more owners. They want more people fully long-term invested in the community. They're not putting more apartments over there, are they? Well, they are. Downtown Fort Worth actually has quite a bit.
I want to do the high-rise life in my retirement.
I could see you pulling that off for sure.
Doesn't surprise me in the slightest.
And I could see you loving downtown Fort Worth, actually, where it's a lot more walkable than downtown Dallas in my opinion, and a lot of other cities of that size. It's now 1 million plus. It's one of the largest cities in America. I don't know what number. I think 9, but you never know how they're measuring, and it changes all the time.
Ian's on it.
Ian would love for me to be wrong, even if I'm just off a little bit.
I'm hoping that it'll make you right.
Yeah, me too. But downtown Fort Worth has a bunch of new apartments, and most, if not all of them, again, depending on how you feel about this, are what I would call high end, or at least higher end, meaning these are not cheap. They're bringing in a group of people that are spending money. They're usually working in or around downtown, spending on restaurants and shopping and recreation, which is good for a city from a financial perspective, from a culture building perspective, to bring young people in and develop a broader population base of people that come to work, play, stay, build families, reinvest in the community. This is a good thing. We've also seen significant development and redevelopment of some of the older rundown areas where there's some public housing areas that have been kind of bought, redeveloped, and are being proposed for mixed use development. There's some old city buildings that are seeing some revitalization, even just the roads down there. Now, we can all gripe and say it's not fun to go downtown when there's a bunch of construction, but part of that is an investment by the city and others to bring in more, entertainment, more venues for arts and things like that. So downtown Fort Worth is seeing some pretty significant investment for the first time, reinvestment in some things that aren't what they once were, and an investment in what people call city building or community development, where you're addressing all different age groups, all different parts of the community. Some efforts towards affordable housing, but certainly the cost of living in downtown Fort Worth has gone up, which has brought in spending, which has brought in employers, so jobs for people to live and stay, restaurants, shopping, retail, even some industrial. You're seeing a little bit more in like the manufacturing's not the right word, but like the creator community of like breweries and some artisan stuff where there's some things locally made, locally sourced, some of that kind of deal. And there's just some excitement. There's a holding on to the history of Fort Worth. There's a clinging to that Cowtown identity, but there's also an emphasis on creativity and getting beyond that Cowtown identity, getting big, obviously at 1 million plus, while also trying to remain somewhat small in the culture. Right. So we've seen recent redevelopment outside of the downtown area with the Dickies Arena and, of course, other redevelopments and proposed redevelopments of some of the old malls and things like that in the broader Fort Worth community. But specific to downtown, lots of excitement, lots of new apartments, new office, new retail, new restaurant, redevelopment of some old city buildings and some industrial areas. Some really exciting stuff going on. So if you haven't checked out downtown Fort Worth in a while, check it out. If you have any interest at all in buying or selling residential property in or near downtown Fort Worth, we would be thrilled to help you with that. Mari on our Fort Worth side, Robert is incredible, and we're looking for 2 more people to join our team over there and take advantage of some of the opportunity we have. Check all that out at toddtremonteteam.com. You can search all homes for sale by all companies in downtown Fort Worth or not in downtown Fort Worth across the entire Metroplex at toddtremonteteam.com. More about Fort Worth, though.
I looked up the U.S. cities by population 2025 with the new census. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised, Todd.
Okay.
Dallas was 9. Fort Worth was 10.
Okay. How about that?
So when you actually combine
How
them,
about that?
let's call it the 4th largest in the U.S.
Oh, together. Yeah.
You got New York City at 1, L.A., Chicago, and then it would be Dallas-Fort Worth.
How about that? I was pretty darn close, but we're rolling them all together.
The
know
math
your
on this
stuff.
site isn't great, though, because it says that Fort Worth went from, in 2020, 923,602 to $1,015,045, which is a 1.84% increase, which I say it isn't. It's more than that.
Well, math is hard for some people, but let's just say this. Fort Worth has gotten much bigger than its traditional identity, which is smaller, more homey, more relational, cowtown. It had a little rhinestone cowboy vibe, but Dallas usually gets that label of like the fake fancy $30,000 millionaire cowboy kind of situation. None of these labels are true of everybody, but these were kind of the broad, Dallas wants to be LA and Fort Worth just wants to stay Fort Worth. That was kind of the attitude. So there you have it, folks. Check out Fort Worth. If you're thinking about buying or selling in or anywhere near Fort Worth, holler at us. 214-310-0008, or you can text us at that same number, 214-310-0008, or online at
ThatchYourMoneyTeam.com.
All right, folks. Lots going on in
I
DFW.
have a question.
Okay.
Is there an attack on home ownership by huge corporations? Like, do you think that they want us to be a nation of renters? You've talked about this over the years.
Okay, pause for effect.
You sit on a throne of lies.
Here's the question.
Well, how does that line up with luxury?
Here's the question. Ooh, wrinkle. Here's a question that I think is buried in your question, right? Is there like a orchestrated effort to do that? And I would say to that, no. Like, I don't think there are dark meetings where it's like, we need to make everybody renters. Let's go get them. But I do think there are billions, if not soon trillions of dollars being invested in what is increasingly an opportunity, which is to build to rent, to have a larger percentage of the population renting versus owning. I don't believe, and I could be wrong, I don't believe that there's like, a movement for people to no longer own private property and to be without those rights. Some people believe that. And, free country, you can believe whatever you want. I don't believe that. What I do believe, though, is there's people trying to seize the opportunity, and they look at residential real estate as one of the largest, if you want to call it an industry or segments of our economy, one of the largest segments that we have. And so I think there's a lot of people that are like, look, owning a home is more expensive than ever. We can't sell as many as we once did. We'll build them and rent them, and we have a forever cash flow opportunity. And at some point, some of these companies, some of these hedge funds, some of these investment groups or consortiums or REITs or whatever you want to call them, the money's just crazy. They actually have so much money that there's not an investment large enough for them to put it into. I know that sounds crazy to people, but some of you are like, I have $100 that I would like to invest, and my kid wants to do a lemonade stand, and I'm like, that's not an investment. That's like you're playing. Well, that's what a lot of these people think about investments that to many of us would be a huge investment. It's like, we're not going to go build one building. That's not worth our time. We have $800 billion that we need to get into the market, and we would like to get a greater return than stocks and bonds. So now they're trying to create sectors of the marketplace, and residential real estate's really attractive. So they're thinking, could we go build 1,000 homes at a time or 500 homes at a time at $400,000 each and rent them forever? If they do that, people that are struggling to buy might still struggle to rent, but can struggle to rent year to year or 2 years at a time without the long-term commitment. And we are seeing more and more people view home ownership as not in the cards for them, or not something they get to do in their 20s, or not even something they get to do in their 30s, or not something that they're going to do until they get married, and people are getting married later, or until they grow a family, and people are growing families later. So there's a lot of different factors that are kind of tied in here. I don't think there's an evil effort to keep people out of homeownership, but I think a lot of the economic and even somewhat political movement is moving people towards homeownership later in life and less financially approachable. So yes, but no evil attempt. Does that make sense?
It does.
Here's my antidote to that, by the way. Would you like to know what I think people should do to fight that?
Yes.
Buy something as soon as you can. Now, you may want a 4-bedroom, and you may find that what you can afford comfortably right now, comfortably is a key word. I think you should Be very careful on how you steward your resources and don't put yourself in a bad financial situation. But you may want a 4-bedroom, but you could make do with a 2-bedroom. But you could buy a 2-bedroom right now in a safe area that you'd be proud to live. I think you should buy that as soon as possible. If you can afford it, if it's good for you, your family, and your finances, I think you should buy residential real estate in DFW and never sell it, or only sell it to reinvest into additional residential real estate in DFW. I think that investment will take very good care of you over the next 30 or 40 or 50 years. And I think you may at some point find that you're really glad you bought something, because you may have a real hard time buying anything at some point without a tremendous amount of disposable income. So get in the game.
Hot take.
Get in the residential real estate game. There's a lot of people barking on social media that you shouldn't own the home you live in. You should only own an investment. I'm not even going to yell and scream like they do. I'm just going to tell you I disagree. They are only speaking from a spreadsheet mentality. They're talking about your current home that you live in is an expense because you don't earn any money back from it until you sell it. And maybe if you do, there were possibly other better investments. I disagree usually, but I would also say there's a massive peace of mind. I have roots in the community. No landlord could ever tell me to move. I own this. I control this. I can make it mine. I can create an environment for my marriage, my parenting, my children, my education, my sleep, my safety, my security, my rest. And there's massive value in that. Life is about a lot more than just money. So I'm a big advocate for home ownership for many, many reasons other than ownership and financial protection. I think it's an incredible investment in the life you want to live. And I'm a big fan. As a matter of fact, I feel called to do this with my life and my gifts and my abilities. We'd be honored to help you buy or sell with that mentality at the Todd Tremonti Home Selling Team. You can go to toddtremontiteam.com, or you can call or text us 214-310-0008. If you're passionate about that same thing and you feel gifted to share your God-given gifts and abilities through your career, we're looking for 5 more people to help us sell homes in and around Dallas-Fort Worth. You can find out more about that at toddtremontiteam.com on the careers page, or you can also call or text 214-310-0008. Do you have one more thought?
Yes. Happy birthday, Courtney.
Thanks, guys.
There it is. Now listen,
Tomorrow.
This is a custom message just for Courtney.
Okay.
Hi,
Courtney.
Ian, it's Mum.
Oh,
Happy
Ian's mom
birthday,
sent you a
lots
note.
of love. Enjoy your day.
There you go.
What an angel.
Happy birthday.
I love that she keeps coming back.
Yep.
Tomorrow,
Custom
Courtney
messages
will
for
be
everyone.
39.
39.
39
Happy
tomorrow.
39.
Happy birthday, Courtney. Hi, Courtney.
Hi, Ian,
Courtney.
it's Mum.
Happy birthday.
Lots of love.
Enjoy your day.
We'll be back next
will.
week, folks. Happy birthday, Courtney.
Thanks.